Upon arrival, they found two males pulled from the water, he says. One they saved. But Malcolm, despite their best efforts, showed no vital signs and was pronounced dead.
You can see some warning signs for people who are coming to enjoy the day here. It says corrientes de resaca todo el año. Basically warning people there is a current here throughout the year. You can see there are warnings for surfers. There's warnings about wave conditions.
That's all I got. Listen to love because it's been a minute. Peace and love, and I'll be back soon.
They wouldn't let me help. He could have survived. That's what a trauma doctor is claiming after being on vacation just a few hundred feet from where Malcolm-Jamal Warner tragically drowned in Costa Rica. The doctor says he ran over the second he noticed the chaos, saw Red Cross responders doing CPR, and immediately identified himself as a doctor, but they still told him to back off. He says CPR was being done, but not correctly, and before he could even step in to help, Malcolm's body was already being loaded into the ambulance. But get this, the weirdness didn't stop there. An autopsy was done immediately, and just hours after Malcolm's death hit the news, the full report was made public. That never happens, especially not with celebrities. Autopsies usually take weeks, sometimes months. But in this case, Costa Rican officials called it an accidental drowning and closed the case all in under 24 hours. Suspicious much? Fans aren't buying it, and for good reason. The official story keeps changing like crazy. First, reports said Malcolm was in the ocean with his daughter when a rip current dragged them both out. Then suddenly, the story flipped. Now they're saying the daughter was never in the water at all. Huh? Then another switch-up. They said Malcolm was swimming alone and that some random stranger jumped in to save him. But wait, now the stranger is actually his friend? And they were swimming together? And here's the wildest part. Officials claimed that friend was in critical condition when they pulled both of them from the ocean. But less than 24 hours later, that same friend was released from the hospital with no issues. How do you go from critical to completely fine in just a few hours? Oh, and no one knows who this friend even is. No name, no photos, no interviews, just silence.
Can be very dangerous.
Carl Collar lives near the Caribbean beach where the actor lost his life.
They have riptides here that can suck you out to sea, and that's what happened to Malcolm-Jamal Warner.
There are reports that lifeguards were not on duty.
It's rare. You almost never see lifeguards at most of the beaches.
Red flags are often seen on the beach.
So what really went down in that water? And why would trained responders refuse help from an actual trauma doctor? That alone raises major red flags. Now let's break down how shady this timeline really is. The first headlines everywhere claimed Malcolm drowned while trying to save his 8-year-old daughter. That version of the story was everywhere. But then, boom. Less than 24 hours later, Costa Rican police changed it all up. Now they say his daughter was never even in the ocean. She was just chilling on the beach the whole time. But wait, if she was on the beach, who was with her? Reports say Malcolm's wife wasn't there either. So was this 8-year-old just left alone while her dad swam out into the ocean? That doesn't sound right at all. Costa Rica's own Judicial Investigation Department released a statement saying Malcolm had been playing with his daughter at the shore. And then at some point, he left her on the sand and went into the water. That's their version. But the timeline's a mess, and things just don't add up. So Malcolm and a friend apparently went into the sea together. But seriously, are we really supposed to believe he just left his young daughter alone on the beach while he swam off with a buddy? That part just doesn't sit right. And it gets even weirder when you look at how the story keeps changing about this so-called friend. At first, media outlets claimed the guy was a total stranger who heroically jumped in to help when Malcolm started drowning. Now, they're saying he was a family friend who was already in the water with Malcolm. Which one is it? This mystery man somehow made it out of the ocean alive, but here's the kicker. No one knows who he is. Not a single photo, not a single quote. No name released to the public. He just vanished like a ghost. According to USA Today, this second man, said to be involved in the exact same incident, was rushed to a Costa Rican clinic in critical condition on Sunday, July 20th. Sounds serious, right? But just one day later, the LA Times reported that the man, a 29-year-old from Nicaragua, had fully recovered and was discharged from the hospital. How do you go from critical to walking free in under 24 hours? Something about that just doesn't add up. And here's the thing. While blogs and fans are going wild with rumors and conspiracies about Malcolm's final moments, you'd think this so-called friend would step forward and speak out, right? Say something to clear the air? But nope, not a word. Just silence. Now here's where things take an even sketchier turn. That trauma doctor, the one who happened to be staying nearby.
The real question is, how much do you want to stand up for what you say you believe in? Ending racism is not solely our responsibility. Eradicating racism is a shared burden. How invested are you in what it is you say you stand up for?
He says he literally saw people running toward the shoreline and heard shouting, so he rushed over without hesitation. He told Us Weekly, "I was about 200 meters from the incident at Playa Grande, spending the day on vacation with my partner." And what he walked into was chaos, but still, they refused to let him help. When that trauma doctor made it to the scene, the beach was nearly empty, just a few people around, and the ocean. It was rough and dangerous. Red Cross responders were already performing CPR on Malcolm, and the doctor says he rushed in, introduced himself right away, and told them he was a certified trauma surgeon from the US. But instead of letting him assist, they blocked him from getting anywhere near Malcolm's body. And here's where it gets even crazier. 2 more tourists also ran up, both of them also doctors. That made 3 medical professionals ready to help, all right there. But guess what? None of them were allowed to touch Malcolm. Not one. They just had to stand there and watch while responders took over completely. Why would they block 3 doctors from helping in a life or death situation? So now we've got a story full of holes, a timeline that keeps changing, a mystery man no one will name, real doctors getting pushed away, and officials who seem way more focused on closing the case than explaining what really happened. And we gotta talk about where this all went down. Playa Grande in Costa Rica's Guanacaste province. This beach isn't your typical safe spot for a family day out. Locals say it's known for powerful, dangerous rip currents. We're talking strong currents all year round, and there are warning signs everywhere to prove it. Residents near the area say you don't just casually swim here, especially not with a child. It's not the kind of place you bring an 8-year-old to splash around in the water. But here's the most suspicious part. For some unknown reason, there were no lifeguards on duty that day. None. On a beach that's known to be risky year-round? So now the question's gotta be asked. Was this really just a terrible accident in a dangerous place? Or did someone take advantage of a location where help was limited and the risk was high? Something doesn't feel right. Let's not forget, Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't just a sitcom star. He was bold, vocal, and unafraid to speak out about racism and inequality. He challenged the system publicly and consistently. So if anyone had a reason to silence him, maybe that beach wasn't picked by accident. Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't just an actor. He was a truth teller. He used his platform to speak on things that made a lot of powerful people uncomfortable. And let's be real. When you speak too boldly and shine too much light in dark places, you paint a big old target on your back. Now listen, this ain't some wild conspiracy. Over and over again, we've seen what happens to public figures who go against the grain. One minute they're challenging the system. Next minute it's a freak accident or some unexplained tragedy. And most of the time, the story just doesn't make sense. So if someone wanted to silence Malcolm, a drowning at a rough, unguarded beach, that'd be the perfect cover. No questions asked. Just another tragic accident, right? But here's what you won't hear on the news. Right before his death, Malcolm was reportedly working on something big, something most celebs wouldn't dare touch. Word is, he was knee-deep in research for a documentary about a highly controversial topic. The theory that Jesus and the original Hebrews were black. Yep, you heard that right. A clip has already surfaced online showing Malcolm discussing this theory, and insiders say he was serious about it. He'd started reaching out to historians and academics, looking to challenge the long-accepted version of biblical history. This wasn't some shallow project. He was digging deep. This theory, while not new, is still extremely hot button. It's been pushed for decades by Black scholars and religious groups. They point to things like the location of ancient Israel, right next to Africa, and Bible verses that describe Jesus with hair like wool and feet like burnt brass. Those descriptions? They don't exactly match the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus you see in movies. And whenever someone in the spotlight brings this up, oh, the backlash is instant. Just look at what happened to Kyrie Irving back in 2022. He shared a link to a documentary with similar themes. And just like that, the NBA came down hard. He was suspended after refusing to apologize. The message? Don't talk about this stuff. Whether you believe in the theory or not, one thing is clear. There's a huge effort to shut down that conversation. Media coverage always comes with labels, warnings, and attempts to discredit the people who bring it up. So, if Malcolm was truly digging into this topic, the pressure he felt was probably intense. And get this. A close friend recently revealed that Malcolm had told them he felt like he was being watched. He sensed something wasn't right, like someone didn't want him finishing that project, or sharing what he found. So, was his death just an accident, or something more? The truth may still be buried. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button, hit subscribe for more real talk from Juice Alert, and we'll see you in the next one.